Viewer discretion is
We
advised.
fight from behind zero, you know. We're already in the negative. Yeah, so just to get to zero is a big thing for us.
Mandate.
Welcome to Mandate, where we navigate fresh perspectives and nothing is off the table. Tonight's guest is from Tāmaki Makaurau, Okilari. He's from the Promised Land, also known as 274, but better known to us from the hood as the home of the brave, also known as Otara. And so the man is an amazing man, has an amazing journey thus far, has an amazing story to share. And you'll know him, you recognize him from the group Lost Tribe back in the days, hip hop rap group back in the days. I remember that. But also he was one of the co-founders and also the co-creators of an amazing label that introduced us to a lot of amazing musical artists like Aries, Radna. We had Mariko and Savage, the Decepticons and so forth, just to name a few. And so he and his good mate Andy got together and produced this amazing label called the Dawn Raid Entertainment. And so the man's also currently he's working with a lot of our young rangatahi, our young people, and do some amazing things in that space and also in our community. Please give it up for the man himself, Danny Leao Savai, aka Brotha D. Also, I think we started ages ago, man. But what a privilege it is. Also, you're the epitome of someone who's done things beyond what we could ever imagine in terms of goals, in terms of dreams, in terms of aspirations. And you sit here and we are in awe because, man, even the conversations outside the studio, just conversating with you, Uso, and just the wealth of knowledge and experience that you come with. And also, I guess we can get into the Dawn Raid Entertainment later on, but I mean, just to start the ball rolling. Also, what are you doing now recently? Because tell us, obviously, the Cause Collective, you're part of them, so give us some insights of what you're doing currently right now.
Well, first of all, my alofa, thank you for having me. You know, you guys been doing some good things. Mandate's been all over the place, man. You know, had some awesome guests. Been watching it. Been loving the kōrero, you know, awesome talanoa with a lot of the guests and that. So, yeah, when you rang and the opportunity to come on, I was like, oh, so awesome. So thank you for that. It's nothing special, you know, just a kid from Otara. Just, you know, really just, I feel like I ran into some incredible people. That taught me a lot, you know. Or start with my dad, and so, you know, all these people I ran into, they all have these values, and I was able to learn and take, you know, because you know there was also a time we used to run around and in the streets and you know, because we didn't have that guidance. You just fell into things, you know, and it's not until later in life, you know, you just realize, man, you can't just fall into things. you gotta know where you're heading. You gotta have a plan, like, you know, of what you want to do. You can't just fall into things. When you fall into things, that's when you end up in jail. You end up doing this and doing that. Hey, you know, because the world is so big and can be could be good for you, but also, you know, there's always that side. So, you know, manage to find a good woman. You know, it's always a good start, you know, or a good man if you know. But yeah, I found a great woman. She's from Lauva. She's incredible, full Samoan woman. It's funny because, you know, we lived in Otara, but she lived in Mangere. And in those days, no, you're not supposed to go across the lines, you know. But it was awesome. I think it was meant to be. And I told her, I feel like, you know, God gave you to me to be my guide, you know, because life was so crazy. She managed to install a few. Like I said, I've just run into great people over time. and ran into my wife, ran into this incredible. I was working at a gas station, and at night, this great, figure of South Auckland or Tara pulls in like 2:00 in the morning to get gas. And I just go out and I say, hey, bro, yeah, I'll do gas. You go inside. And in actual fact, I got some pies over there. You help yourself, it's on the house, because I already know who he is. And he's a great legend, it's Phil Fuimana. And I'll fill his gas up and then, he'll have a pie and we're just talking. And, that led into me, going into further with the music with his label, Urban Pacifica Records. And it's such great, great history, great artists, But, they also taught us, the Fuimana family, I like to say that I'm a branch from that tree. Down in the Velvet Crest, there's a tree there, and it grew out of the garage in Velvet Crest, and I'm a branch of that tree, and it feels half Niuean, half Māori, so I'm half Samoan, half quarter Niuean and quarter Māori, and that's just how your brotherhood is become, So yeah, I learned that, and to a point where, I said to him, hey, there's no, there was us like AKA Brown, Dehamo, Lost Tribe, Moisna, and we could see the effect of, the sound we had from South Auckland, and the way, mainstream were taken to it, But when I looked down, I didn't see another, how the Warriors have the Jersey Flag team or the under-17s. Well, there was none for us. So I said to Phil, I think I want to start a development label, under-17s, who later on can follow through, and they gave birth to Dawn Raid.
Wow.
Yeah. So Dawn Raid was never supposed to be. However, I saw that, we needed the young to come through, and they needed to walk in this channel, on this bridge, and be taught the way that Phil taught us, and we can share that same knowledge through, basically that's what happened. I did an audition in a garage with some of these artists, and that's how we grew. We literally grew, from the community, grassroots. No money, no nothing. This is how we started, And if you grew up in South Auckland, I consider myself a garage kid, The garage became the extension of, that was the fourth bedroom, me,
True, man. True, right, man.
So all the cousins from Samoa come over, they get landed in the garage with you, hey. So the garage became like, that was our space. And then, of course, when you want to play, there was the street. And that's how you became friends with everybody. That was the extension of your living room. Was your street. So every kid in your street about the same age all played together on the road, and they became your best friends or friends for life during growing up. That's South Auckland.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's like in every other part, but that's how we grew up.
Yeah.
That's why, when they talk about Otara in South Auckland, we are prideful people because, this is how we grew up. And we didn't have much, but what we did have, we shared with each other, or, you played with your friends and on the road and that. So that's where it is.
Sorry, man, you're describing my childhood right there. Brother D, you're right. You're absolutely right. Back in the days, we would go in the garage was obviously you bring the whamalus all there. Do all your stuff there and play games and play ballet, all that kind of stuff with your cousins or whoever. But also there was a jamming, that you were jamming, rapping, music. That's where we kind of did all the a cappella groups and starting up back in the days and playing cricket and touch out on the awala on the roads.
Yeah.
And so obviously homage and respects, rest in peace to Phil Fuimana.
Yeah.
and Paulie as well.
Yeah.
The Filmano family, amazing. But what was it, Uzo? What was it about Phil that really stood out and made people like they just gravitated to him, and also Urban Pacifica? What was it that made this man and his family such an icon in our hood Otara?
I think, Phil had been in the music for some time, and Phil saw how the love of music that he had, mainstream Palangi, they didn't know how to do it. They didn't understand it. So he just grew that. That's how I feel, Well, that was my biggest attraction. Phil would do musika, but he would do it on a level that's mainstream. From our garage in Otara, where, in Velvet Crest, Phil would be putting together pieces of music that, Balangis couldn't even come to fathom, They couldn't understand. That's how good his production was. So, of course, we were attracted to that, because all of a sudden you hear some of their songs on the Lekio, and, there was a time when you could never hear any of our songs on Lekio.
Shit.
Hey, we had to put up with the strumming guitars and the, of Dunedin, and but and I think that's what attracted us to hip hop as well. It was beats, it was rhythms, it was stories that we could understand, and that became like our flavor, But the one thing Phil always made sure, or always was really strong and advocate about, tell our stories. Tell our stories from South Auckland. Tell how you grew up like you're Samoan. You're such a proud Samoan. You always fight every day. Tell them about why. Tell them about that. Tell them why you're such a proud Niuean. Tell them why we love hip hop. So Phil, he was like, he was our Spotify. That was the platform. What Phil created was a platform that we could go and just do our musika and just leave it there. And it just so happens that, he was signed to BMG, and so BMG will be the machine that we throw our musika in. And of course, it was so different from what was going on. And that's the beauty of why I loved it. And I love that, at any given time we could go up against mainstream music. That was my biggest love.
Man,
I love the challenge, The challenge is...
But you're right, because he's such a pioneer, obviously, with the Filmano family and what he did. And so, and also just the music. I'm back in the 80s, late 80s, hip hop, R&B, all that kind of stuff, American music and all the blacks, African American, wow, amazing. Then he kind of in the 90s, and often I think, because people think, Dawn Rage Entertainment, and they often think, Brotha D, Andy, and not knowing, or not, even this generation, not really understanding or knowing, man, Brotha D, man, he could spit bars. He was a rapper, and it's true. So I know we love now, but I remember back in the day. I remember back in Lost Tribe and Summer in the Winter. I used to do there's a summer in the winter. It's like, there's that man. Man, Johnny Sangala and all this, all your team. And so even then, like, people were like, and much respect for that, because I think, did it really help you or catapult you to, obviously with Dawn Raid Entertainment, but obviously having that background of music and hip hop, and also being a rapper yourself, obviously there would have been a massive part in terms of pushing Dawn Raids, but also knowing what it was like to be on stage and so forth. Yeah,
it really did, because, like I said, what I saw with what Phil was doing, challenging mainstream, we wanted to do that, as Lost Tribe with our performances, with our songs. And I believe we did do that, And so, by the time we developed Dawn Raid, once again, we've been equipped, up here and in here there's a balance there now. And so we knew, because we had a purpose. And so the purpose was, I know people laughed at it back then, but it was always global, in the 90s, we thought about global music because we saw Paulie Fuimana do it from his garage and, with his brother and Velvet Crez. So we believe we could do it too. And that's where, it's funny when one of your friends or relatives does something incredible that goes global, you instantly feel like you can do it too,
Yeah.
And I think, we need more of that. We need more of that. Our kids these days need to see, they need to understand that, we're part of a global community and we're special in our own way.
So
And that's the bit that they shouldn't lose. The reason why you're so special,
100%.
And so, there was it was a great time for us. But a lot of learnings as we grew. But it all, we had those teachings. We were equipped, to do this, and that's what we did. And when we got the opportunity to start our company, I remember Andy in class at MIT, like asking, what's the name? What should we call it? And I just wrote down Dawn Raid. And Andy already knew because these were my lyrics in our songs. And, we grew up. These are the experiences that we grew up because we always believed that's what hip hop was, to be able to tell our stories. And so I wanted that there. And because I'm now going to stop rapping because I want to develop these under 17 rappers, I want to create a name just like Urban Pacifica that means something, that represents our people, And, Dawn Raid was something that happened, to our family in the 70s. But by then, I haven't had my children then. But I always foresaw that one day I'll have children. And one day they're going to ask me, what's Dawn Raid, Dad, And so I've had that conversation with my children.
They must be so proud.
Oh, yeah, But as kids are, they say, oh, that's cool. Oh, no, yeah.
So did you use the same form with Phil? Was he, because I've watched your documentary, by the way, awesome, inspirational. It was such there was a few moments there where you just wanted to cry, and then right towards the end, you're like, please come back, please come back, come back. And when you did, it was like watching the All Blacks.
Yeah.
Right at the end, and then you guys came back on top. And I guess when you say, and I think one of the things that the documentary missed was Phil. They brought him up at the end.
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing from you is he's a big contributor
to
how Dawn Raid came about. And so I'm just wondering, because Phil sounds like he operated on his own. Whereas you and Andy, amazing tag team.
Yeah.
Was he? So Phil he was
hard.
Well,
he had his family, he had Tony, and of course the success of Paulie, sort of opened up many doors for Phil as well, But his sister Christina, we most of us all congregated at Velvet Crez. That was the place where, if you ever go and find out the history of Motown, and then you go over there, and there's that Hitsville, the house. Hey, it's like a museum now. They should make their house a museum for South Auckland, for what it means. But nobody will ever, I don't know, they'll rather, let's just do a mural wall of Phil in Otara. But he's more than that, And those people in those times need to be recognised for that, Because, without them, there'll be nothing for us to start or for us to continue.
Yeah.
So, he was... he had them, and then of course, then we became part of the team, and we helped Phil grow Urban Pacifica, but it was all him. It was all him.
Wow.
He negotiated everything. He created the tours where we went around the country. But those were the days where we had to learn to do everything.
Yeah.
And we learned by doing. And sometimes, you would have seen in the movie, trial and error.
Yeah.
We didn't know everything. However, you know, you gotta walk through it.
Yeah.
You know, because if you don't, then how are you supposed to know?
Yeah.
You know, or will you rather get somebody else to walk through there?
And what's so cool is because, you know, there's a lot of Pasifika families who, you know, have come to New Zealand and they've done it really hard, you know, and they've done the best they can to raise up their children. But sometimes in raising up us, you know, as their children, they overprotect and they don't want us to make mistakes. Yeah. And I don't know if it's because we're here in New Zealand and they think the consequences are a little bit, you know, deeper.
Yeah, I think that, you know, when I look at my dad and I always, my mum and dad, I always think of them. And, you know, the one big thing that I recollect is they only had one thing on their mind, you know, and there was better future for you. That's it.
Yeah.
School, go to school, you know, make sure you do your homework, you know what I mean? That was their purpose.
Yeah.
You know, and so overprotective, yes, of course they were. Yeah. You know, they didn't want to. They can't even speak the language properly. You know, and here's their kids going into schools, learning, coming back. You know, speaking all this language that they can't even fully understand. I can understand why they're so protective.
Yeah. So how did you override that? Because the thing is, you made all those mistakes. Trial and error was your game plan.
Yeah, yeah.
And I saw that in the documentary. Trial and error was how you guys learned everything.
Yep.
And, you know, and I'm coming back from a Pasifika context. Like for some of us who want to try those mistakes and your parents are shivering on the sideline. Yeah. You're like, well, Mum and Dad, I have to. How did you overcome that and reassure your parents that we needed to do this?
Yeah, so my dad died when I was 11.
Oh.
Yeah, so, you know, that misguided youth, you know, I talk about, you know, running around on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't have that. We didn't have our dad there to, you know, to protect, to guide, you know, to give us words of wisdom at that time. You know, we had to learn by trial and error.
Yeah.
You know, I had to lose a brother, my little brother, to life in jail in order to truly get the lesson, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it was just part of my process.
Yeah.
Of how I grew up and how I learned to deal with things now, you know. But, you know, if you're a young person and you're trying to go through that challenge, you know, the best conversation you can have with your parents is like, Mum, Dad, I got to do this.
Yeah.
You know, while you're still here, let me make the mistake.
Beautiful.
You know, because if I make a mistake, I know I can grab hold of you and you'll help me up again.
Yeah.
I think that's those honest conversations you should have. Don't think like, oh, you don't understand, Mum. You Dad, you don't understand, you know, because, you know, you got to do da. All they want is the best for you. So if you can sit down and have a talanoa with your parents and explain to them, like truly explain and talk them through it, so they can have some sort of understanding of what you're trying to do. And then at the end, just, please let me do it. Let me try this, you know, because if it works out, it could be the difference for our family as well.
Wow. Yeah.
But if we don't do it, you're going to second guess everything. We're not going to, you know, you just sit on that average line or wherever it may be. If there's an opportunity for you to try something that could better the outcome of your family, financially or whatever, man, have a talk to your mum and dad and see if you can, see if they'll allow you to do it. Because to me, that's that point where you come, because your maturity is already there. You understand what you need to do. But they don't understand. Because they're parents, they're protective. You know?
You're right. You're absolutely right. They're not fully informed, eh? Like this is the Balangi terminology coming in. Yeah. We need to fully inform them.
It's good. You know, that's the one.
No, but we have to fully inform our parents, because otherwise, you know, they just, if we give them, I can do it, they're like, if you're poko. But if we go, Mom, Dad, and you have to also find a way to communicate to them so that they can back us up.
I think it's how you say it, Brother D, how you say it, because you're sometimes, you don't understand, like you said, you don't understand.
Sorry, brother.
No, all good also. But you just going back to what you're saying. Go back to what you're saying there. You're right, because sometimes is how we relay that information back to mum and dad. Because sometimes we, oh no, you don't understand. You don't get what, and obviously you were saying mum and dad can be quite protective, overprotective. Oh no, we want the best for you. But I was just thinking to myself while you were saying that, Brother D, how many people or how many families have missed out the opportunities because, a lot of them, oh, I can do this, mum and dad, I can do it. And then, what if you're boko? Yeah, ko ngā mea. And then and missed out on these opportunities. Wow. And like you were saying, for the betterment of the family.
Yeah, I think there's, you know how, I don't know, but I've seen, some of our parents can be stubborn as well because of the lack of understanding. They don't fully understand. It is your job to make them fully understand.
How do you do that?
Well, it could be a series of talanoas with them.
Yeah.
It may not just be one. Because the first one, you're going to get frustrated, heated up. Then all of a sudden, you're going to say the worst things to each other.
Yeah.
Go as far as you can for the first one. Okay, we'll leave it there. 3 days later, hey, Mum, I still want to talk about this. You got to, right?
You got to. It's the whole thing, Like when even just you saying that, the transferable skill here. When you go into the board meetings, you go into governance and all of that sort of stuff. Is quite often we tell people you need to stay on the table. You can't get off the table. You got to stay there, keep arguing, keep advocating, da. But a lot of these skills are not learnt in school. They're learnt right in the living room with our families.
Yes,
that's cool.
Yeah, schools just equip, but everything, your life lessons of learning, they come from home.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but, if you can, if you're able to communicate to mum and dad and make them understand anything.
There, you got a massive skill.
You're doing well in life,
No, especially our parents. Our
right?
stubborn ass parents. Man, if you can melt that wall, man, you got some skills.
But the problem is our young people, because they're so knowledgeable from learning, at the Palangi school, then they think, no, you don't get it, But it's like, no, you don't get it. Because if it wasn't for their sacrifice, you wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't sit in the opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
So you gotta really think about these things, because you trying to, and no screaming or shouting is ever gonna make your mum and dad learn better.
Yeah.
In actual fact, he will go back to his village style,
Wow. Yeah, those ones.
But that's the honest truth, right?
Yeah.
I mean, So if you're a young person and man, the first port of call here is not it's not business mentor. I'm sorry. You got to get your partners on board first. You got to convince them first. I will have business mentor. They can't help you when you have to try and explain something to mum and dad.
Oh, man.
So just it's really just it's just the normal processes of a Pacifica family. That's how I feel.
Yeah.
And if you pick your battles with mum and dad, and so like it may not be just one talanoa, it may be a series of them. But at the end of the day, they want the best for you.
Yeah.
Believe you me.
Yeah.
And if you can, over the series of talanoas, convince them that this is going to be good, not only for you, but maybe for the whole ainga, you think they're going to say no?
Yeah. No, they'll eventually come around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Because that's how they are. They want to know. They want to know that the move that you all going to be making is going to be the best move for the ainga.
Yeah.
So
they're
true.
not just, you may be talking to them about your idea or something, but they don't just think about you. They think about your other 8 brothers and sisters.
And your cousins and your aunties and uncles.
They're still in the garage, living in the garage.
Sitting on the farm.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, you can unpack this as much as
No,
you want. You know what I
is
mean?
good,
man. This is
But
good.
it's
No, but it's such a. I don't think you've said it better than. I think you've said it better than anyone, and it's unfortunately, it's a skill we have to teach our young people.
Yeah.
It's part of their resilience.
Yeah.
It's also about a part of their perseverance.
Yeah.
But even the communication skill, like these are all things that'll help them fulfill those dreams.
Yeah.
And forget job applications and university applications, because if you can get through mum and dad first,
Yeah.
man, you can fly
Yeah.
anything. Oh, that's so
my
cool.
son is a classic example. My son and his mother, classic example. His mother will tell him something to do. Of course, no kalingas, tell him okay, to the point that she starts to raise, the decibels of what she's saying. And then all of a sudden, he just turns quickly and looks at me, like, are you... What the do I have any support here? And so I'm like, listen to your mum.
Try again. Try
it again. Listen. And that's in my house, Imagine what the wrong route of that is they just get up and walk out.
Yeah.
There's no resolution there. And that's why I say to my son, whanonga looking,
Yeah.
Listen to what she's saying, because I tell them one day those voices won't be there anymore.
Yeah.
And you'll start, sitting there crying your eyes out. Hey, Mum told me about this,
Yeah.
But why don't you try and do it while they're here,
Yeah. That's
Allow them the respect. Give them the whāroalo, for bringing you over here, for giving you life, for guiding you through school when they probably didn't have much kupe, but you still got your lunch. These are the things that we got to always remember.
Yeah.
And you're putting in perspective, also. Obviously, in our time growing up, obviously, if you're poko, mum, dad, like you were saying, they don't understand what we're going through. But you're right. I think we're the ones who don't understand, because understanding, if we truly understood what mum and dad had to go through, and obviously the dawn raids, mum and dad, my dad was deported back because of the dawn raids, all that kind of stuff. And so, if we truly understood where mum and dad stood and why they're working so hard, and you were saying, obviously, it's the same thing we hear as time and time again, for a better future for our kids, obviously send money back to Samoa, support the family. If we truly understood, and even now in these days, of our young people, if they understood, even now, as parents, like if they truly understood where we stand and sit, I think a lot of communication would just thrive, because they know where we're coming from. We know we try to understand where they're coming from, because the barrier there, the lack of communication and all that. This is what I want to see, and and you don't understand, mum and dad. If we could understand it and just kind of sit there, and okay, and you were saying, have the conversation, a real honest conversation, and talk about it, and learn to understand. I can guarantee there'll be less of hassle and more of like you're saying, more prosperity in terms of our families and so forth.
Just to be able to, clear those communication lines, with mum and dad, it's a huge win for you.
Yeah. Huge, man.
It's a huge one, and
those board meetings.
And there's transferable skills, like you said, and that's actually an easier meeting, in the boardroom.
Yeah, that's way easier than your mum and dad sitting on the other end, like, saying, makalonku, like, and you're like, you're under pressure. And then you have to think of some way to marry the world that you have outside of home and the world that you have in the home.
Yeah.
You really have to figure out how to adapt those two worlds. And if you can master that skill by what you just said, having a series of conversations. If it doesn't work the first time and dad's turned into village, next time try something different. So that dad's less village. But I this stuff we have to teach our kids. It's so important.
I've learned so much and seen so much in life, that has allowed me to share these thoughts with my children. you know, because that's where I feel like I need to start, you know, for all the things I've done in my life, you know, my jewel and my crown is my children,
Wow.
you know, and so I know one day I won't be here, so how are those jewels supposed to keep shining? You know, how are they supposed to get through problems? You know, first problem they see, they don't know what to do. So you got to go through it, you know, you got to sit there and you know, and it has to be something you learn as you do. You know, you go through this process here. Hey, calm down. Don't just start crying. You know, your mum has said this. You have to understand this is what she wants done. You know, there's no, oh, you know, she's wrong. No. Mum and dad are never wrong. That's the honest truth. You're under their roof, you know. If you want to, you go live with auntie and uncle if you want. But mum and dad, this is their fale. And even if it's the wrong answer that they give you, it's still not wrong. And you just have to bide your time. You know, because one day you're not going to have your mum and dad around. And all they really want is they've brought you here for a great opportunity, you know, in New Zealand. And then all of a sudden one day you're just like, nah, I'm not listening, nah, you're wrong. Did you think that they had that in mind when they left Samoa? They never had that. There was no question about why their purpose of coming to New Zealand.
Yeah.
But yet now you know you're rich in knowledge, you're rich in school, you got your degrees, and now you're coming back and telling mum and dad, no, you're wrong. How can they be wrong when they're the ones that came over here?
Yeah.
So you know it's all perspective, of course it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But for us as you know, for me as a Samoan and understanding, I was born in Samoa, so I understand there was this journey that my mum and dad made. You know, 4 boys. Come to a country, don't know how to speak the language, end up working in the freezing works, you know, learn life, go plant a church in Pororua, start this congregation up, boom, you know, bringing people into congregation, serving a community, all from like, and still not too good on his English, you know, warning us like, when you come into the house, only Samoan. When you go out the house, you can speak English. You know, all these gems.
Yeah.
You know that, and I haven't even passed that on to my children. You know, and it's a shame because you know we should be the guardians of those values.
Yeah.
But because life gets to us, you know, life becomes that heavy, or that's what success looks like. Oh yeah, we need to be like that. It's like you don't need to be like anything. That's
we don't.
Insights.
I don't want.
No, it's some good insights.
It's a bit downer, but
No, it's not a downer. It's actually
it's
quite
not.
thought provoking because you just said, you know, we're looking out there for what success looks like, but it's already there in front of us.
Yes.
You know, and I love what you said earlier. It's about transforming the heart and transforming the mind.
Yes.
And we need that adversity.
Yeah.
We need those challenges.
Yes.
Need that pressure to be able to do that. And if we're able to, you know, hold that relationship at home, that in itself is successful.
Yeah.
You know, to be able to keep that family in harmony, keep that relationship together in the midst of misunderstanding, because we're coming from outside into the home, different view, and then we're trying to understand mum and dad's view. But you're absolutely right. Like success is not out there. It's already within us, and we just got to live it and walk in it.
Palangi tells you success looks like this.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But if you go to Samoa and you see what success looks like taking care of the family in your village.
That's right.
You know? They're not flashy, nothing massive about anything in the village. The mokmanga still the mokmanga, you know? Whanga, the puas and the moors, they still look the same.
Just harmony within the family.
Yeah. But, you know, we of course, it's New Zealand, you know, you take on that. But, you know, just don't think too much of what success may look like in a Balangi.
In the mainstream.
Yeah, you know, because I feel like we had a lot of rich values, and you know, that we see every day when we go back to Samoa. I love that, going back to Samoa to see all that. That's probably one of my biggest things is just watching family, especially in my wife's family too, just watching them, you know, how they are and that.
Yeah.
You get to see what's important, you know.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And do you think
That's flight 455.
I
the planes always come by us right in the airport strip.
Yeah, I know.
and that highlights why you've done such amazing things in your own business, in your own world, with Dawn Raids, for example. Because one of the things I picked up on, I mean, we already know this from the outside looking in, but you have a really good eye for talent. You have a really good eye for picking out people's gifts, and just hearing your values, the way you've been brought up, the way you see. You know, we talk about our cultural values, but I liked how some guy calls it cultural capital. Hey, and it's cool because it's something that we bring to the table. But the thing is, you've used all of that stuff to bring in, to spot people's gifts, and then you've learnt from previous mentors, is then having the heart to connect with them, but then also having the logic to know, okay, how do we now transfer or translate this talent into what the world needs?
Yeah.
And you can see how this has all come about, because when I was watching it, I was like, oh, this guy's cool.
Yeah.
But now I can see where all of that gifting comes from.
Yeah, I do have that. I believe, it's a God-given gift. You hit it right. I haven't developed or worked on an artist for so long, you know, because I'm working on my true artists, my children.
Yeah.
You know? Because I got to a point where it's like, and here I am helping all these artists who are great, and now they're moving on, and they're successful in their own right. And then it was like, man, I look at my children, and I was like, yeah, something needs to be done here. You just get to a point. To me, that's what happened to me. I just got to a point where I just looked at my children and went, nah, come back home from America, come home, and just, and I spend a lot of time of just taking my children to school, just driving them to school, doing absolutely nothing, just taking them to school and watching their process. And after school picking them up, and it's just the conversations and processes. I was like, hey, I understand. I get it now. So that's what becomes a big part of my life now.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, I always take one of my children with me, because it's an experience. That's how I look at it. Whether you go down the road, always, son, is that us? Yes, Dad. Yep. And just along the way, on the way, we can talk about whatever he wants to talk about. But if I feel like, man, there's a nice little lesson to be learnt there, then I'll be like, hang on, son, da 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 da, and then he'll be like, okay, Dad, But that's how it is, There's nothing else you can really do other than try and develop them into, superstars. That's how I see it,
Yeah.
I'm going to develop them and let them. So my daughter come home one time, she started playing rugby. And she loves rugby. Her mum's is a ex-black friend, so of course she's going to love rugby.
Wow.
But she came one day, she goes to St. Mary's in the city. And she came home one day and she goes, Dad, I'm going to change schools. I'm going to go to, I want to go to Howard College. And I was like, I heard rumours that, Howard had a good sports academy, sports program out there. But, she found out. And of course, her coaches at club are the couple that run it. So already there's, relationships already there. And some of the girls who play in her team, her club team, all go to school there. So, of course, all these relationships are all there. And so she came and said, oh, I want to go to the school. You know, she's year 11, she's year 12 next year. Oh. So year 12 and year 13, she's going to do it. But I loved it because for me is go honey, go. Because go and make your mistake. You know, if you get to the end of it, go, oh, you know what, Dad, there was a load of rubbish, you know. I actually want to go do this. Good. Make that mistake while I'm still here.
Yeah.
You know, because we'll always be here to support. You know, that's another role as parents. Man, it's just not about, you know, support as in buy uniforms and blah, blah, blah. No. You got to understand your children and know them that well that when they're going through something, you should know. And if you don't know, then you don't know your children that well.
Wow.
You know? So, you know, and I saw when she was talking, I could see that she was real passionate about it as well. And I was like, yep. And she goes, oh, you just have to sign here, you know, this is my application form. And I was like, say quoi, baby, for you know. But, you know, and it's, you know, my wife's Catholic, so, you know, my children go to Catholic schools. And, you know, St. Mary's was a good school and, you know, really good academically for her. But I said to my wife, her academics is fine. You know, kore kingi, we support her what she wants to do. A lako for ia lea.
Yeah.
Let's go, girl. Let's see me if you to the moon, you know? And that's how
That's good.
I just follow through with my children.
That's so good also. That is really good. There's a lot of, I think a lot of, we talked about being overprotective with our parenting, with our own kids. But I love what you do in terms of saying, hey, whatever decision you want to make, and giving them the opportunity and the courage to make those decisions as young as they are. Yeah. And learn from it. And obviously we can't be there for everything. That's right. They go through, the whatever struggles or hardships they go through. But for them to kind of do it, and even if it doesn't go as planned, there's nothing goes to waste. They're still going to learn something. That's right. And you're just building the resilience in our kids. Like, oh well, it didn't pan out. For some kids, oh no, you can't do it. And then I can't. And then you kind of like the resilience is not there because they haven't been given the opportunity to step out and do something, even fail, and they're not used to failing. But I love what you do. You just let them learn. You learn on the way. But mum and dad's on the sidelines. We're cheering you on. If you fall, you know, it's on you, but my mum and dad will still pick you up. Yeah. That's amazing. And Bisingisi, when you do business, you don't have that luxury. You don't have the luxury of your parents supporting you. You know, because in the midst of business, you know, these challenges there that, you know, and then you're also worrying about bottom line as well. You know? So there's other unique circumstances, so you have to, that's another whole thing that plays out as well, you know. These guys too loud.
I know. They are so loud right now.
I was giving you the opportunity, Phoenix. I was giving you the opportunity.
So you're so you're right. Like right now they've got you. I wanted to ask. But I'm going to hold that one and just quickly go back over here because your children have very high-profile parents who've achieved some pretty amazing things. Yeah. Do they see your achievements as pressure, or do they see it as, and if they did it, we can do it?
I think it's more pressure for my children. Yeah. Yeah.
How do you buffer that?
I don't. I just like. I'm like. That's what I done. Yeah. You can't change it. It's already been done. It's, you know, what's done is done. Yeah. You know, but you can change the world. Wow. You know, that's cool. Well, the opportunity you have, learn from what dad done. You know, or mum. Wow. And you go in and change the world. Yeah. You know, you go and paint it how you like to see. You know, paint a picture of the world. What do you see? You know. whatever that image is, go and find it and go for it, you know. I really, you know, I understand about those pressures because my daughter's a little bit like that, you know.
Yeah.
But I always tell, you know, once again, I truly believe it's about building resilience. You know, I always tell her, hey, don't worry about what I've done, you know. You worry about what you're about to do,
Yeah.
you know, and tell me what that looks like, you know. Tell me what we're going to do, you know. Because I'm here for the ride until the wheels fall off, you know.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
And I position myself like that, you know. So, yeah, it's always pressure. Yeah, I know.
That's
At
good,
school, but that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
That pressure is a good pressure.
We need to invite it and let it be our friend rather than try and duck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
and allows them to, you know, to understand it as well. You know, because, you know, who knows what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And, you know, and when they have their children, it could be the same problem there as well.
No, well, yeah, there will be because Granddad set the bar here. Then as, you know, your son Elijah, hopefully he takes it to the next level. So for their children,
hopefully.
Yeah, he will.
I can see.
He's going to get to the next level, man.
I can see the mongrel. I can see the mongrel in him.
See him, man.
You know,
No, but,
the
you
fruit
know,
doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yeah, but for me personally, I'm being honest here. It doesn't matter where he lands.
Wow.
As long as he lands in something that he loves.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I can see you know, because I read my son's face all the time. And as I can see that, you know, he's happy in that place, then I'm happy. You know, and honestly, it doesn't matter to me where that is on the spectrum for me, you know.
Yeah.
You know, if he's found a place in a safe place where he can deal with life, and where, you know, he's comfortable at that place to deal with life in that space, and, you know, and he has people, you know, when my kids were born, the first thing I said to my wife, we need some strong support around it, not just us, but strong support around our children, because they need to they won't come and tell our problems to us. They'll go to auntie, they'll go to uncle. So I set up my friends all around. They know it too. But, you know, they love the children and that. But the real reason why I had them there is so that they could go to them. And it happens.
Wow.
In true reflection, my daughter, you know, she likes to find in one of my friends, you know, her uncle, and she has an auntie as well, and same as my son, you know. Maybe my son is not as much because he's more closer and he's a little bit younger, but eventually he will, you know, and that's a great thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know, you gotta put people in their lives that, you know, who you've known for a long time as well, that you trust as well. So when they turn and they have problems, they can go to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because sometimes mum or dad is, you know, ele feel mai kalangoa about whatever that problem may be.
That's where we take that whole frame, board of trustees, hey, and implement it into the family, because you need that that support around our kids, and they have to be trustworthy.
Yeah.
But I love that you've got a backup, because you know our kids are not always going to see. It's not that they don't want to talk to us. Sometimes they don't want to disappoint us when they make mistakes or they make a decision that's not the same as our decision. And the fact that you set up a web or a board of trustees that they can go to and talk to if they don't want to come to us, man, that's
very clever.
Wise.
Very clever, very wise. Yeah, very wise.
Yeah, and I hope parents listening, you know, start putting that in place.
You know, all I'm, you know, like I'm sharing what you know, my own life experience of what I'm doing, you know. And you know, I feel like with all these bits and pieces, you know, they and those pieces of, you know, chessboard, those pieces have been put in place, you know, since they were born.
Yeah.
You know, so now that they're in their teenage years, you know, these things that they probably won't want to discuss with you, you know, and they can go over to auntie and uncle and talk.
Yeah.
You know, And that's good for me. I love it, you know, because they're trustworthy people who I love
Yeah.
as well.
Cool, I love that.
That's good, man.
Which takes us nicely back to the other conversation you started around going into business and not
Yeah.
having that backup.
Yeah.
And trying to translate your dream, you know, through the people that you're working with,
Yeah.
and trying to make it all happen, but also trying to keep your eye on the bottom line, because nothing's free.
Yeah.
Nothing is free. I mean, I've always been told you've got to invest money to make money.
Yeah.
And you got to have money first
Yeah.
to be able to make it sometimes,
Yeah.
or to keep it going. So how do you, I mean, you had to figure that out on your own.
Yeah, absolutely.
Without supports, how did you do that?
You just have to learn to navigate, you know. You keep talking about the great people who navigated the seas, you know. Hey, it's your job. If you want to do business, you want to get into business, learn to navigate. If you don't know what that is, go and find someone to learn from.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where the mentorships come in, you know. Learn because, you know, business is business. It's not, you know, it's not like, you know, buy something and then resell it at this price. These other things in between that you got to learn about. And, if you're not prepared for that journey as well, man, you know, you're gonna get wiped out. You know, business is not as easy as people think it is. However, go and try it, man. I encourage you to do it. I really do, because it's you know, there's nothing that is more satisfying than you starting your own business and see it come into fruition.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know this. You know, it's not a easy haul, but you got to learn to navigate, right?
Yeah.
And find where those opportunities are to bring it. And as soon as you start seeing the fruits of your business, that gives you a lot of pride. It makes you very, it makes you, it makes you feel like this is what I should have done. I really believe this is, you know, this is what I should have done, you know. And it's even better when the fruits of your business are people from your community as well.
Yeah.
That, to me, is the ultimate. You know, them transforming their lives, creating the balance where they become awesome parents, you know, and go on and forge their business, you know, as artists, to go on and take on the world still.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, you can't get any better than that.
I know.
Just like what you were saying, AD, in terms of success for our people back home is serving the family, looking after the family.
Yeah.
And the hope that whatever business or entrepreneurship, whatever we do in life, of those who start business, that everyone comes to the table, everyone eats at the table, everyone is looked after, and everyone flourishes. I love that that viewpoint. But just going back to pressure, because I know we talked about pressure of our kids and all that. But in terms of going back to when you started your business, you and Andy, in terms of Dawn Raid Entertainment, the record label, and the pressures, and I know, and you said this on the documentary, you said, you learn by doing. You learn by doing. And I love that statement, you learn by doing. In terms of the pressure, and I don't think the documentary captured it, but and how did you deal with the pressure, whether it was negative or positive? How did you deal with the pressure in terms of the record label, looking after all these artists, the highs and lows, but more so the lows? How did you deal with all of that, Brother D?
I think, you know, for me, when you do something that you love so much, it doesn't become work, you know. And I always tell my son that, find a job you really love, and it's not like going to work every day.
Yeah,
you know?
that's cool.
It's just like, you know, you're going to kawhao because you're doing what you love doing. You know, and for a long time, that's how it felt to me, you know, because it was something that I loved doing. I knew I was working on young people's lives as well. Hey, you know, I already knew what I was doing, you know, transformation, the transforming of those lives, becoming a success. I wanted to prove to the world that, you know, even where we come from, South Auckland, we can still be a success in our own eyes. of what success looks like to us. You know, so, and then there's the business side of it, you know. Those were, you have to learn to navigate. You know, like learn by doing. Man, I think we lost a lot of money by learning by doing, you know. But you can't not learn unless you do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Hard out, man.
You know? But the irony of that is, you know, it could cost you a bit, you know.
Yeah. Is there a way to lose less?
Yeah, I think there is, and it depends on what type of business you run. You know, for us, the music business, you know, I couldn't look over and see who else was doing it. I had no references. I had nothing to turn to. I didn't know, you know. We were doing the best what we knew how to do.
Yeah.
And because it was always people first for us, you know, you get into situations where, man, do I pay the PAYE or do I kokongi the workers?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the situations I talk about, you know. And for me, because we are hard on our sleeves and that, you know, it's always the workers.
Yeah.
And any business, and any, you know, business ABC is like, oh, well, you did it wrong, bro. You know, the tax man needs to be paid. And I said, yep. In the perfect world, as a perfect businessman,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
Wow.
But this wasn't a perfect world, and we weren't perfect businessmen. You know, we were learning by doing. You know, but the one thing we always made sure we always try to look after our people.
Yeah.
Even if it means detrimental to yourself.
Yeah.
And the organisation. You know, it's but artists don't know that. People don't know that. You know, community doesn't know that. But that's the heart of what we did.
Wow.
You know, and you know, that, like I said, the greatest thing that came from that is hopefully, you know, Savage will carry on with his business, and of course he has, and he's become successful at it. Addies will carry on with their business, and hopefully, you know, they'll learn from our mistakes and they'll carry on and do it. You know, you know, Mareko, you know, Decepticons, all a Radna, you know, and it's just not about just the business. There's also, you know, there's life to deal with as well. You know?
Yeah.
And because you're your own business, if you're not right, your business can't be right.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're dealing with yourself. You're the product. You're the what everybody wants to see. You're the person that's gonna create the big show. You know what I mean? However, if you're not right in here or in here, then your balance is start off, you know? Yeah. And of course you can carry on. Hey, but you always know this it's not quite right. You know? And that's been part of this immense journey, you know, and even for us as well, for Andy and myself as well.
Yeah.
You know, we had to get this and this right as well.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, business can take you into spheres that you can get lost in those spheres, you know.
When do you know you've gotten lost? Like, when do you know when, is it like, because he did say, he highlighted a point when he felt like it was sort of, there was a point there where he was like, yep, that's when the downward spiral happened.
Yeah.
And I remember even at the beginning he talked about, in all the successes, there's also darkness in it.
Yeah.
And so when I hear that, as a businesswoman,
Yeah.
you know, I'm going, well, and that can happen to anyone, because I've seen people from any industry
Yeah.
that talk to the same themes.
Yeah.
That there's a point in growing where you can lose sight, or you can take your hand off or your eyes off,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden things quickly downward spiral just because you've taken your eyes off. But when
I think, sorry, excuse me. I think, you know, when, you know, we talk about there's levels to the game, you know. There's levels for you to go. Sometimes, you know, in those levels, you may take too big of a step on those levels, you know, and you would know that. You would know that, and that may come in growth. That could come in, you know, a decision you made about spending money on something, you know, like whatever it may be in your business. You'll know, you know, inside of you, you'll know, damn, you know, maybe I shouldn't have made that choice.
Yeah. Carried
but,
too much.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? You know?
Just keep going.
Yeah. You do, because you believe there's those cycles that come back around, you know. Hey, because, you know, I talk about momentum in business as well. Yeah, momentum is a big thing in business, you know.
Yeah.
And so if you can carry on that momentum and let it grow, then you'll start seeing some type of a success, you know. But yeah, if you tend to grow too much too fast, and you miss things, or you know, or you're too busy looking this way when something could be happening on the left that you don't know about, or you don't see because your eye is too much on that.
Yeah.
That you know, the bigger you grow, the more I feel like you're exposed.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same when you're just small, little $50,000 turnover business.
Yeah.
You know, compared to a $7 million turnover business. The exposure, and sometimes in those exposures you're not used to it. You know, but that's cool as well.
Yeah.
You know, you know, you get so much learning from it. You know.
Yeah.
And then, you know, for whatever happens, and if it doesn't work out like how you feel it did, well, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you'll go to sleep and you wake up the next day, off you go again.
Yeah, that's right.
Once you get it out of you, because, you know, it then becomes heavier around shame and heavier around, you know, because it was right out there with the community. You don't want to, you know, show face to your community. You because you feel like you let them down. You're the artist. You feel like you let the artist down.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But all it was is that, you know, at a certain point we made a judgment call on this and that, you know.
Yeah.
And it didn't pay off. It didn't, you know. And that came back to hurt us and bite us in the bum.
And so is it just letting them, because it's grief, eh?
Yeah.
It's grief, and you almost just have to let people process their grief.
Yeah.
They want to take it out how they want to take it out. But the fact of the matter is this is what ended up happening.
Yeah.
And I like that you didn't try and defend that you just let them process their own grief the way they did.
Yeah, because, you know, we everybody processes everything differently, you know. But, you know, grief's a big one, you know. But then you so sometimes you get used to grief as well, you know. For me personally, you know, I've lost a dad, 2 brothers, and my grandmother, who mean a lot to me.
Yeah.
So I've faced grief all my life.
Yeah.
So when something like this happens, even though I feel like I've let a lot of people down, or, you know, the decisions we made, you know, maybe hurt some people as well. But I'm used to it, you know. That grief doesn't compare to me losing my brothers and my dad and my grandmother.
That's cool.
Does it make sense?
Yeah, of course. Of course. I mean, we've both lost our own dads in the same year, and you know, as you take this route in business, you have many times where you're at the edge of losing it or not, or just, shall we just flip this over? Like, is it even worth the headache and the sleepless nights?
Yeah.
But for some reason, I can't explain it, but
brings us back here.
but for some reason you're like, I'm already familiar with this.
Yeah.
Like, I've survived it before, and you come to that place again, and you're like, why am I not as anxious than 5 years ago?
Yeah.
But then I wonder if that's a problem.
Yeah.
No,
I think it's just
right.
I think it's just part of your growth, You feel comfortable, in that space.
Yeah.
You sort of have that confidence. And that's good. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. And then the good thing about that is then you'll find the process of dealing with it in that space.
Yeah, because you can still navigate. And that's the thing when I was watching your doco, there's that, because we had the time stamp on.
Yeah.
So when, it felt like it was the end, I was like, oh, there's another 15 minutes. There has to be a turnaround.
Yeah,
Come on, guys,
yeah.
turn it around. And when the attitude, like, yep, we're going to come back. Just the attitude of bouncing back. And I think that was the key word for me, was the bounce back.
Yeah.
And not letting that be what defined you.
Yeah.
That the bounce back and what the future holds with all of these learnings that you've gathered along the way. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. It's really hard for me to explain that time because, like I said, I've grieved most of my life, and when you've lost those sort of people who really are important in your life. I remember losing my brother John right at the start. I was going to give in to it, right? Because I literally set that up for my brother who was in prison. He's the more musical, and so he'll have something to come out to. But yeah, he passed away before that happened. So I was ready just to call it a day then, and that's 1999.
Wow.
Yeah, it was 99. Yeah, 1999. And so the grief of anything else doesn't hurt me. Because I've had to grieve. I've dealt with the loss of my dad, my grandmother, my two brothers. You can't get any more worse than this where I am.
No.
So when that, and because you experience so much grief, it just becomes a norm.
Yeah.
It's not a, it's not a. When people talk, grief, to me and myself, I'm like, yeah, I understand. But, wait until you really lose, like, not just one, but two, but not just 2, 3, 4 in your lifetime as you're growing up. That's when it starts, like, and you truly appreciate what's around then,
Yeah.
And so, with that era and that period of my life, and then coming through and getting an opportunity with the Cause Collective.
Yeah.
And they came around at the time. We were just doing the movie, and I didn't truly understand. Good brother Jerome Mika came through and said, "Hey, how about you come and just do?" Because he knew I wasn't up to much after the movie, and he's like, "Look, just come and do like 3 days. There's a piece of work there called Future of Works. It's a contract with MBEIE, and it's trying to look at these industries that be identified. 2 industries that be identified as the creative industry and the tech industry.
Wow.
And the organisation sort of needs someone to sort of lead that work." And I say, "Oh, yeah, sure, cool. I'll come and have a look. Yeah, why not?" But it's the same thing. Once you get in there and you have a look around and you're like, I can't believe nobody's doing this for our kids. That's what I saw. Why is it, only 2.7% of our people are in the tech industry,
Wow.
Why is this? Why is it over 30 years we've had, all these training institutes in our community doing things around technology, and yet our number is only that big?
God.
After that, I was just like, that became like a new fight, you know.
New drive,
Yeah,
new
yeah.
motivator.
Yeah, and once again, you know, because all the elements are there, you know, something of the future, which of course is tech and creative industry, which I knew. Our young people, I know about them.
Yeah.
How can we twist that? How can we flip that? How can we flip the 2.7, 2.8% into 20%? I love that. Yeah, I love that. I want to do this now. So, yeah, and, you know, that's what we did. And, you know, we found out, we looked around and, you know, there was a gap there. You know, and one of the big gaps was young people accessing not just technology, but good technology, current technology.
Yeah.
So that when they go into the workplace, it's the same machinery. They're coming from, you know, our school computers, going into these PTEs like, you know, media design school and UB and that, and they walk in, they look at the equipment, they don't even know the equipment.
Not a Dell.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And so what happens to our kids there? They lose confidence. Then they start talking this language, this jargon around, you know, they weren't taught that at school. When they were talking technology, it was like Logitech speakers and a Dell computer, you know, in the corner of the room. So once we learned about that, then I was like, oh yeah, I know how we can position something that could become, you know, a lever for our families and our community, our young people in the community.
Wow.
And that's what gave birth to the South Auckland Creative and Tech Hub.
That's
Because
awesome.
I was there, Brother D. The Brothers Keepers, the Brothers Keepers get together. I think the last one. Props to Sio Lamatia.
Yeah.
And so I was there, and you spoke, and just your eyes lit up when you obviously just what you were just sharing right now. Your eyes lit up, and you took us for a tour around the setup.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is some world class stuff. This is amazing stuff in here. And some of the kids were there, and I think you had one of the guys there he was doing something in terms of animation.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is, and I can guarantee because, and you mentioned that this is how I got involved. I mean, we talked about earlier on, people are a bit afraid to talk about proposals and getting funding and all that kind of stuff. And you shared what you did. And, wow. And people just sat there, all the guys sat there, gobsmacked, like, how does this guy just rings up this person, ring up this person, ring up this person?
Yeah.
And he got all this funding together. And I love it that your heart is about for the community, for our families, but also for our young people.
Yeah. You see that night whenever I introduce people to come and have a look at the facilities, you know, the first thing is like, wow, you know, oh my goodness, look at this. I can't believe this is in South Auckland. And my thing for our kids is like, no, we need to normalize this. We can't talk like this anymore. Our kids need to go, oh yeah, I know what to do. I learned it just down the road, you know? And that's the thing that I really look forward to, you know, that it becomes our kids normalize it, you know, seeing double screen, you know, Wacom, you know, and doing it's not new to them, you know. We familiarize them with it.
Yeah.
It's like them getting an iPhone. iPhone, you know, they're professionals at iPhone before we even know what to do with it.
Yes, true.
It's all. And so that's the same thing with our tech hub. We just give them the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know? So to do that, I was like, okay, every week we're going to have a game club. And make a maiki like ka alo I ka alonga, you know, at home. Ai o mai la ka alo lunga PCs here, you know.
Flash
You
ones.
can't, yeah. Oe vaila leo mai. Yeah, but you know, these kids. So we cap it at 20 that night. Man, we have 20 every week.
Yeah.
You know, au mai you know, and so I'm like, good, that's working. You know what I mean? So we're about to next year in 24. I'm about to open up what I call my outreach program. You know, I you know, we purchase, you know, thank you TCC, thank you Cause Collective, but you know, and our funders, and we purchase a trailer, 6 meter long trailer, and we fill it up with PCs and gaming equipment. And I'm just going to drive whatever school wants it. I'm going to park it up after school for 2 hours. And the kids can just come. Because the kids, you can't afford it. Our kids, our aingas can't afford this type of equipment.
No.
You know, every workstation is valued between $3,000 and $5,000 a workstation. Ia o whea mea la mai ia koe ngā kupi.
Ka whaingi ko.
Mea aru.
Mea aru ia mama deva, my mama dad. Le ai.
Give it out.
Oi kiki kālo ulu, eh?
I know, because my son was just telling me the other week, like those keyboards, he wanted a keyboard, and he was like, oh, Mum, it's on special. Oh, how much is it? 300. What the what? 300? And he's like, but that's not even the full price. The full price is 600-700.
Yeah.
He said, this is cheap. And I said, fair, cheap.
Yeah. But these are, you know, so the opportunity to be able to build this,
Yeah.
to allow, you know, I wanted, you know, I don't want, there's a young man in Witai, Samoan. His name is Jacob Lua Manuvaisua. And so he's worked on Lord of the Rings and some of these Marvel movies. You know, that's only one Samoan.
Awesome.
Yeah. I want to see 1,000 Samoans.
Yeah.
And 1,000 Tongans, 1,000 Cook Islanders, you know, 1,000 Fijians. I want that. You know, I don't want our kids to be left behind anymore.
Yeah.
Not in this space.
Yeah.
You know, because the space layer is so important for the development, not only development of and learning for our young people, but also the financial contribution it can be for the ainga in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, because I mean, it's the whole thing around technology, Silicon Valley, all of that stuff, getting our kids familiar. And I think you talk about the bridge.
Yeah.
Talk about the bridge. And you've always been bridging.
Yeah.
You've always been bridging South Auckland to the world.
Yes.
And thank you for doing that.
Yes.
Thank you so much for doing that and continuing to do that. But now, in another, you've done it for hip hop.
Yeah.
And now you're about to do it for the tech industry.
Yeah. Tech and creatives.
Yeah, and tech and creatives. And I think what I want to know from you, because you're so grounded in your own, you know, cultural values.
Yeah.
You're so grounded in who you are, where you're from. I loved when you introduced yourself, you said, I'm nothing special, I'm just from Otara. I know that's just how you introduced yourself, but the fact that you're from Otara is already special.
Yeah.
So what we talked earlier about our Pasifika people being in mainstream.
Yeah.
What does our Pasifika people bring to mainstream with all of this tech stuff and creative stuff? Like, we could all have that skill, but what does Pasifika bring to mainstream that is so special?
I think that the low-hanging fruit there is, you know, our images, you know, our stories, our, you know, our cultural perspective on, you know, like Moana, the movie was great. But that's not really a true reflective of the Moana that grew up in Samoa and in Tonga, and you know what I mean? And so, you know, they missed a little bit out of there. Yeah, thank you, Disney, but, you know, you shouldn't be telling that story. We should be telling that story.
Wow.
This is the view I have, you know? And so why did Disney tell that story and not us? Because our kids are not equipped for it, to tell that story. You know, so what do? We equip our kids, you know, we give them that. We give them the opportunity to familiarize and don't be afraid of technology. So one day we will see a Moana Part 3. I kid you not.
And they can, because you've given them the technology to familiarize themselves with that world.
There's a lot of people do it. But, you know, the fact that I can be an advocate and be in there, just like how I was with the music. I'm going full tilt on it, you know.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing more pleasing for me to see, you know, another Pacific story. But, you know, we just went and watched Tigers, you know,
Next goal wins. Yeah.
you know, that excites me when I see that. You know, the Tonga movie about, you know, the brass band, you know, it excites me when I see that. Because I relate to that better than I do with Marvel comic movies. You know, how many more Spider-Mans you got in there to go bring out? You know what I mean?
You need a Samoan Spider-Man, eh? Samoan Spider-Man.
It's been Tucker comes on it.
But you know what I mean? I find myself, I gravitate more to that than I do to the Marvel. And funny enough, my children are the same.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the things that I think that needs to be pushed.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, our islands, though they may be small, but they need to hold on to that. They need to find a way to tell their stories, because the world loves nothing but watching a great movie about these people from this little spot on the world map. You know, they love that.
Yeah.
But the problem is Disney's getting all the goods for it. You know.
Yeah.
You know, these Discovery channels are getting all. Why? Because our kids are not equipped with the skill to be able to go and do it themselves. They're starting to, though.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, even these sort of things. Like, you know, you're set up as a podcast. Since when did we ever talk about doing podcasts? But look at us, we're here now. Well, guess what? There's not just one, there's two, there's three, there's four. You know, that's the great thing about this, you know? E mam lama loka ko ka maiki. It's game over.
Yeah.
You know, but they just need to be given the opportunity, you know,
Yeah.
and shown, like, you know, be taught the right way of dealing with how technology comes, understanding about owning the IP of your Pacific images that you put out there,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
learning that, you know, your digital print, you know, you got to put a stamp on it in order for you to get, you know, some royalties back when they start using it in Germany to tell the story about Samoa.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things that we need to look at.
Yeah.
You know, just, you know, especially our young people, especially our people who are involved in tech at this point.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you gotta hold on to that. That's ours. Those are our stories. That's ours to keep, and wait for our young people to come through and let them tell it. Let them, you know.
Yeah, it's powerful also. And it seems like that. It seems like everywhere I see now that our stories, and people have been saying it, we need to put our stories, we need to hear more of our stories as Pacifica. And you're right, you're absolutely right in terms of the world out there. They love it. They love hearing about these Pacifica people. Obviously, Disney's getting all the rights and the royalties, all that kind of stuff. But in terms of, like you said early on, our people are so talented, so much talent there, but they're equipped in those talents. But in terms of understanding the business side of things and understanding how things operate and the processes and all, so we need to kind of be upskilled in that sense. And I love that. And I know we've talked about our children, precious and so forth, but I'd like to get your insights also in terms of our young men, or men in general, more so our Pacifica men. What do you see? What do you gauge in terms of our men out there, and what do you see with a lot of our young people, young men, and also men as adults? What is your take in terms of, are we in a good state? Are we in a state where it's all good, or are we in a bit of a decline, or are you kind of worried about some of the things that are happening for men in this day and age?
You know, as part of, you know, we have for the brothers keepers, they, you know, can only speak on what I'm involved with or what I see. You know, there were some, a lot of great older heads that were there, you know, but it was exciting. There was young men that were there too. You know, everyone in that room, you know, they all have a story, and they're all proud about their story. But I think the more we have forums or platforms like that our men can get together with, you know. And, you know, it happens at church. You have your men's group at church and there, you know. But I think there's a way that just needs to be more organic, you know, because, you know, we're just fathers. We just, you know, we're brothers, we're sons, you know, and all we're trying to do is find the other like-minded ones that, you know, we can learn off or share or, you know, that's what I see about Brothers Keepers. You know, it's such a great platform, and I hope Sio carries it on in that, because there's so much value in that. Because I can learn more in there than I can than going to a counsellor or something like that. You know, we have our own ways, you know, and we got to remind our young people not to lose those ways. You know, and if those ways, if your parents haven't taught you about those ways, then go and learn it. Go learn our Pacific ways of how we deal things as men, you know. And, you know, every man is different. Just because, you know, you can be vulnerable and talk about your state, there's another man who doesn't want to, you know. Who's the right one? They're both right to me, you know. In time, maybe he will. But it doesn't mean, you can't open up. Shut up. You know, open up to what? You know, if I choose not to, as yet, then that's my choice. As a man, as you know, and everybody should respect that. And just because we have someone who opens up and they're comfortable to share about their vulnerability, that's cool too. I'm all powerful, everybody. But don't think just because you're good at opening up doesn't mean the guy who still sits here and finds it challenging to open up, that he's wrong. It's all.
Yeah, because I think there's an assumption. I think there's an assumption that if you don't talk, there's something wrong with you. But can you just bust that?
Solely. You know, and man, I know there's a lot of good people doing a lot of good work. they say, oh no, they should open up to you. And I'm like, yes, but...
Because talking's one way. It's not the only way.
That's right.
What other ways?
He can go draw pictures. I know someone really good at drawing pictures that can get a story across. You know?
Yeah.
Some write raps. You know? Music, you know?
Yeah.
This... Whatever, how you feel. And some just don't want to at that point of time.
They just think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's that whole thing, you know, when you talk with your parents, the first Talanoa may not be, you know, you have the second, the third, there may be a series. That's what all he probably needs. It's just a series of being around this, being more comfortable with it, you know.
Yeah.
And eventually he may open up, you know, or not.
Yeah.
We can't pass judgment on someone who, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what? It's a mere, like, it is how it is, you know? That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah.
Because I see there's been a lot of onus on that, you know?
Yeah.
About,
men not talking.
Men not talking, open up. It's like, there's times when I don't want to talk.
It's true, it's true.
You know? Because I'm trying to process it myself. To the true understanding of what it is. Give me time.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is good insights.
That's the
No, this is really good insights.
I mean, you can only talk about your own experiences.
That's right. And that's how I feel at times too. There's times when I'm like, shut up. I told you I got no filter. I told you. I'm like,
Kikilo mai maka.
Are sure, Brotha D? And when they're vulnerable, they're opening up, shut up.
No, I'm not like that. But I'm just like, man, if you're really real about it, have a heart for the brother who doesn't want to open.
Yeah, and if they don't, like you said,
there's
a whole. I think the assumption is, and I get this all the time: men don't talk. So if men don't talk, there's a problem. In fact, if men don't talk, or anyone, men or women, if you don't talk, it might be that they got other ways of coping.
That's right.
It might be that they might be thinking about it. It might be that they need time to process it. I mean, there's a whole heap of things happening under the surface.
Or you might be the wrong person to talk to.
Yeah. I think it's very powerful coming from you because, you know, based on your, you know, the the journey you've been on, you didn't have your dad there
Yeah.
for most of your adulthood life or adolescent life when you needed him.
Yeah.
You didn't have all these other significant people. You had to figure this stuff on your
Yeah.
own. You still came out on top,
Yeah.
and you weren't always talking.
Yeah.
And so you have every right to say what you're saying right now, because for some men out there who are just being forced to talk,
Yeah.
Brother D's telling you don't have to.
Yeah. No. Well,
They feel
I
the
just feel
pressure to talk. Yeah.
I'm at a stage in my life where if I'm comfortable, you know, I'll say something. If I'm not, I'll be like, and they'll be like, they're trying to egg you on to, like, I don't want to say anything. Is that all right? I'm boring. Sorry.
Ese a upule la abako.
Why is he going out? Upu nga ke swem. Like, I want to laugh off the upu. Nah.
That's what pisses me.
Nga upu whakangi e ka ngaka. Oh man.
I love our men. Our men, you know, they are warriors. That's all I see in every Pacific man. You know, when you just look at the history of Pacific men, you know, they were out there. It's still in there, you know, in our men today.
Yeah.
You know, so don't count them out, you know. You know, just because one's more quiet and the other one's louder, don't count out the quieties, you know. Some just deal with it differently. There's still the warrior in them, though, you know. That's one thing I'm really proud of. You know, when I travel the world and I just look at all different types of nationalities and that, and I'm like, oh no, we good. You know, like, you know, as Pacific people, as Pacific men, we can stand right in the amongst of all of that too. And it shows, you know, it shows with the rock. It shows, you know, that we can stand in that space no matter what. And sometimes, you know, as families, you know, we got to give that opportunity for our men to be men.
Yeah.
You know, because, you know, the warrior spirit is always within all of them, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's cool. Gotta let our men do, eh? Failing and
Come on,
mistakes.
Patea, you're right. Patea, you're right. You can do whatever. What do you want?
You don't have to talk anymore.
But I love what you said, Brother D, because you're right. Sometimes we forget that men are different. You know, we're so consumed with that. You're gonna be the alpha male. You're gonna be alpha male. You're gonna be vulnerable. If you're not vulnerable, you're not a real man. You're a less of a man if you don't talk. All that kind of stuff. And we forget men are different. Different men deal with it different ways. Men cope with issues different ways. But it doesn't make us less of a man. Of a man. And just like you said, it's just timing. They're not ready to talk to. It's just timing. You know, they have to be ready to be able to conversate and have the conversations. And so we need to, I think there needs to be communicated loud and clear. Like, you love what you said. You know, you just can't judge men. Men are just different. You just can't push them to be this man that the world conveys.
Whatever the world is saying, please do not conform to that. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
You know, it's don't forget your uniqueness. You know, who you are. You come from a long line of incredible people. You know, and you know, every now and then you have an opportunity. You know, to express that. Don't be shy to do it. Be the man that you want to be. You know, don't listen to what people say.
Yeah, that's
They
awesome.
conform, yeah, man.
Yeah, and I really appreciate what you've done for South Auckland. You know, because we're quite often bombarded by Otara's poverty stricken and all of that sort of stuff. And you know, the sad thing is that moves itself into the mindset of our people here.
Yeah.
And we talked earlier about Jimmy Thunder.
Yeah.
And I love how you say, find your passion, but we also have to transform our minds.
Yeah.
And so, like, how much work do you think we've got to do to really, Yeah, and I love that you work in an organisation that's about social change.
Yeah.
And they're doing it for Pacifica, but from a South Auckland perspective, how much work do we need to put in place to, not I'm not saying that we pretend that poverty is not real.
Yeah.
We know that that's part of a big part of being in being raised up in this area. But how do we translate it, into something that's powerful, like how you have done with a lot of those artists? You've made dreams come true.
Yeah.
You've made them global. Now you're doing it with Tech Hub and Creative Hub. Is that one of the ways that we do that?
Yeah, I think so. I think because, there's also the flip side of that as well, where, our young people, they want to belong to something, and so, they go and join a gang. That's the flip side of it, But is there a lot of work to be done? Absolutely, but it can't be just the same old, It's got to be different,
Yeah.
And I can't tell you what that is. All I can say is I've found something here, in the tech and the creative industry, and I believe that there's a lever there that if I get enough young people to go through and scaffold them into NZQA level 4s and level 5s, they will end up at 120k a year. That's a lever. Family comes up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I see.
Yeah.
And some people could be different, but we can't. Here's a good example. Working in this youth space, there's so many programs out there run for young people. Some of these programs and some of these organizations, they only hold the young people because they get money for it.
Yeah.
So they will never let that young person go because they'll hold them. That young person reoffends, that's okay because they'll just go back to and they'll come back and then they'll hold them again. And so there's a lot of that, and now we've got a lot of sort of new rangatahi programs out there, and all they're doing is the same old. They're just holding young people, putting on these great little initiatives, but there's no end game. What's the end game of you holding that young people, that young person? What's your end game? To transform their. And so how do you see that? And where do they go into? Like, is there a qualification there? Oh, yeah. And so when they get that qualification, is there actually a real job that they can get from that qualification? That's what and because in South Auckland, I always talk about, we fight from behind zero, we're already in the negative. And so just to get to zero is a big thing for us,
Well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Gosh.
And so, and so when we talk, it's like, oh yeah, but we all understand. The whole country understands about your issue of being in the negative. Yeah, but it's a real issue. Don't put programs and organizations that are just gonna keep our young people in the negative. Give me an organization or give me a program that's going to move my young person to zero and for them actually to see they can go into the positive. What organization is that? Where does that program? Because that to me looks like a success plan for our young people.
Yeah.
But what happens is all these youth programs just hold the young people there, and they hold them there and they're doing all these great little initiatives, but you never see them get to zero. And what happens is eventually they pull out of those programs and, they go try and find a job some other way.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes it's the organisations or is it the funding structure? Because sometimes, they only give enough funding for a time period and then after that, and then they discontinue and then these young people just hand it over to the next service that got the same funding to do the same thing. Yeah. And it just ends up being such an issue.
It's a vicious cycle. And how do we know it hasn't been working? Because our young people are still
in
there.
it. Yeah. I was talking to this guy. Can you name some of those organizations? No, I was kidding.
Name and shame.
Don't go there. Remember I told you.
I was kidding. But you know what? You highlight a really big issue here because I met this guy. I'm not going to name him.
Or her.
Or them.
Yeah, you're them or they.
But he used to be in one of those government departments, and this is 20 years on. And I saw him on the plane, and we're having a talanoa on the plane. I'm like, bro, where are you at right now? And he's telling me, he's doing like ministry work. And then I go, man, you're like the $700 suit guy, and you've gone to this. Like, why? And he said, you know what? We used to fund all of these community groups that started off with heart. They started off with heart, and then after that, they just became administrators to the funding, and they lost their heart because of the process and the system that was put in place around them. And these are some really good organisations. And he said, 20 years ago when I was there, the same problems are still here today. Yeah. And I kind of just dropped my jaw, and I was like, so do you think how do you think we're going to fix this? And he's like, you can't. You can't fix this in this system. Yeah. And what I love you brought so much hope this evening because you said you've found a way to activate this trajectory or this pathway, build this bridge for our young people to cross over because you're not gone down that route. You've gone through another route. Yeah. Through the philanthropist route, through people who believe in who you are and your vision and your plan for these people. And you know what? I really love that you don't talk about hope. Yeah. I mean, hope is cool. Yeah. But you actually go, hey, let's be practical. Yeah. What is the plan to walk over this bridge? Yeah. What's the instructions?
It's been a blessing for me to be part of the Cause Collective. Because that really opened up my eyes to I always seen our community a certain way, but the work that they do, it just highlighted to me like, damn, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and so in that sense, as I was going through the journey of road mapping, the creative and the tech industry and that, it just highlighted like, damn, there's an awesome opportunity here to be able to, lift some of our families out if the young people can just tool themselves up with these tools, equip themselves, And while they're here, how about we create a pastoral care team that can speak into them about this. So there's some sort of transformation there, a youth space that can hold, a Friday night space just for young people just to hang out, have something to eat, that's to me, that's transformation to me because, this young person comes in, I want to learn tech. Oh, by the way, we have dub hour, which is well-being hour every day. So at this time, you have to do well-being. Oh, what's that? Oh, well, you get taught by a pastoral care team.
Wow.
The pastoral care team come in for an hour. We have a pastoral care framework, and we, and we use those themes and those things to speak into these young people.
Yeah.
And then, oh, by the way, if you're not doing anything on Wednesday, we have tag down in Mangere. You guys, if and Friday, you can come here and just hang out. We just, our youth team led by Do Good Feel Good will be here to support you guys in that. this is not just Brother D's massive plan here. No. This is the culture that the Course Collective are currently just putting into place to make sure that when a young person walks into the Course Collective, that they get all this and some.
Wow.
So you know, that young person, in the time he'll spend with us, by the time they go to leave, they've equipped not only, I'm going to do the NCQA level 4 media design school with you guys, the IK suite. But already in here is already moving.
Yeah.
And in here, he's starting to see where his future is held. That's, to me, is how we should all work towards it. And how do I know? Because that's what we're doing. That's how I know this.
Yeah.
I see the transformation in our young people.
Yeah.
And what they're going through. So we had young people who come a start of a 6-week program, and the 6-week program in tech was only a taster. I did a partnership with Media Design School, which is probably like the number one tech educators in Auckland.
Yeah.
They're based in the city, but I said, let's do a partnership because all I need from you is your qualification. Because I don't want to go through the process of getting qualification. What I have is a pipeline of young people. How about we join together? If they can do the 6-week course and they want to do your NCQA level 4, how about I'm able to scaffold them into there?
Yeah.
And how about, and how can we do that? Because some of them won't have level 2s and level 3s. And so they said, no, everything you're going to teach them in the 6-week program will sort of cover that. So you just need to endorse them to come into the level 4.
Oh, wow.
And that's what.
Yeah, cool.
So we got 6 young people who we've scaffolded up.
That's awesome.
Into the level 4. And that's what I mean. I talk about what I talk about because I'm doing it, I see it with my own eyes.
Yeah.
And through this journey of our talanoa, you've seen I've done this, a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But when I'm talking about this is current. This is right here, right now.
Yeah.
I have 6 young people who come June 2024, they will graduate with their NCQA level 4.
That's awesome.
In technology, their foundation program. And from there, that's a platform where they can bounce off.
Yeah.
If they want to go do game development, if they want to do animation, they can move in. If they want to do graphic design, they can move into there. And that's level 5. Once they accomplish level 5, the world's your oyster.
Yeah.
120K plus, that's where you are.
I know, man.
Jeez, man.
So I've just sat and spoke to you what we're doing with our rangatahi from zero, off the street. These kids I got off the street, they were the hard to reach. These were the NEETs kids they talk about.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And here we are able to process them through, scaffold them up, give them belief, encourage their, to become confident, understand how to, through well-being, how to deal with situations as a young person,
Yeah.
And as they spend more time, they're getting this on a regular.
Yeah. Yeah, it's becoming a new routine, new habit, and it's changing this.
Yeah. At the end of the 6-week program, we talked to our young people who are on the 6-week program, and almost 90% of them, when you asked them, what was the best thing about the program? And they said, tabao. You know what I mean?
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so, we're just doing it on a smaller scale, and we're just looking at it, and we're just looking how, what are the gaps that are still there that we can see. We're always reevaluating ourselves just to make sure that the journey of this young person can start with nothing, but end up somewhere with something,
Yeah.
And I think that's, that type of model is what, a lot of programs and a lot of youth initiatives that are going on in South Auckland, they need to adapt.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because it can't just be about equip.
No.
It has to be about changing here and changing there.
Yeah, because equip is just like a banking up, eh?
Yeah.
But it's not using
That's
or
right.
practicing or applying.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Well, their tools is about the skill that they want to do as a job. Well, they're not upskilling how they deal with emotions and things like that when they get into
Okay. Yeah.
They're not dealing with, planning ahead or seeing where the future leads with what he's doing. The options that he's taking are positive options rather than the negative. All those things are things that you deal with here.
So good, man.
Yeah.
So good, Brother D. I love it. I love it in terms of you're not just educating them just to meet the criteria and so forth. You said to yourself, these students come in, these kids come in, they're learning how to whatever they need to learn to get those meet the criteria. But you said the double hour they're learning, like you said, different aspects in terms of well-being, emotions, feeling, critically thinking, thinking for themselves, empirical thinking, all these things that you would never get it in dare to say, a normal tertiary care or tertiary education. So you're teaching, it's like a real holistic approach.
Yeah.
And I love it that you bring all these, and like you said, the transformations, we've been taught this, but the transformation is, hey, my well-being.
Yeah.
If they can actually self-awareness and reflection, it's my well-being. I'm learning all these new stuff about who I am emotionally, mentally, and be able to critically think. Yeah, that's a bonus. That's amazing.
I truly believe, like this, and I will pitch it to them, to Ministry of Education. I will take it to them and say, hey, we've done this now. We've done it for a couple of years, and here's the success. Here's the bits and pieces that involve. Maybe we can look at that to applying that at school level. Yeah. That our schools can take on. Well, especially for our Māori and Pasifika young people. Yeah. They need this, because if they don't, that's why a lot of our kids just leave school. Yeah. Yeah. Because they don't fit that. What they're teaching, they don't fit their, mold, that mold that they don't fit that mold. So, could this be, a mold that they can? Well, we've proven that they can be. Here's our, I dare say it, the success of what we're doing. But these are the elements that we believe that they need in there in order for them to even start thinking right, the critical thinking piece. Yeah,
it's awesome, man.
Understand what where the roots of the problem are. Yeah. If our kids know about that, they'll be able to deal with life. Yeah. The cause and effect. I can hear my chairman in my ear. Yes, Ulu, cause and effect. But these are the things that are, I learned, even myself, on this journey I've been on at the Cause Collective, and it's been great, and just be able to have a space where I can now express through, another initiative that can go on and create more superstars. Yeah. And,
that's what you've been about all these years, is about is about identifying gifts, creating pathways, creating the bridge, and then just getting them over to the other side and planting our people in mainstream.
The ultimate goal for us will be one day that when Disney or Marvel want to make another Moana movie, that they'll look at our kids here. Yeah. They'll come to us and can you guide us through the process so we get it right this time? And we will be equipped with young people. They can go, we can do that, D. We can. I said, of course you can. Now's your opportunity to showcase everything that you know and you've learned, and tell the story of our people in the right way, and give it the money it should have. Yeah.
And lead it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The forerunners.
Tell it by the people who live it, rather than the Palangi people come in and watch and study and take notes and then go back and reinterpret. That's such a unnecessary process. Yeah, when you can just give here, you go and do it.
It's because the Palangi process is all about trust. When they don't trust you, they trust their processes they put in place. How can we can't trust them? They're still running around in grass skirts down there,
The natives.
I reckon the fear is, I reckon one of the fears about Pasifika people is the innovation, is the ability to adapt, navigate without all the necessary tools. And I think the fear is you might come up with something way better.
Yeah.
And I think that's a force to be reckoned with. And I always say, when our Pasifika people are in that boardroom or in that space that you and Andy have been sitting in, that's a force to be reckoned with.
One of the add-ons to what we're doing is I'm building a audio studio there beside there.
Oh, awesome.
Excuse me, because that's all part of it, you know, and to be able to develop and record and identify some more stars. It allowed me to do what I originally done.
Yeah.
But now the collaboration with our young ones who have tech, we don't need to go to anybody to make their music video anymore.
Yeah.
We don't need the CD cover, putting it on Spotify. It'll all be done in-house.
Yeah.
That young tech man who's doing the level 4, he'll come back. He goes, "Oh, do you want what sort of video do you want? Do you want a graphic video or do you want
animation?
Animation?
All the audio engineering, all this stuff. Oh,
Audio engineering,
Yeah.
podcasts.
Oh man,
You know, but that's it becomes endless once you actually have a plan of where it all sits
Yeah.
and where they can actually get a job and, you know.
Yeah.
That to me will be like the ultimate. But while they're in the process of learning, it's the collaboration that they're gonna do.
Yeah.
That's what excites me.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna find something incredible. You know, a 13-year-old, you know, a couple of 13-year-olds and a 14-year-old, they're gonna come up with something absolutely, they'll blow our mind. The innovative space of our people.
Yeah.
What you spoke on, absolutely.
Yeah. And you see that when you're in Samoa, eh?
Yeah.
You see that in Samoa, like we all come from that heritage. And we see it when we don't have resources, we make something out of nothing. And so I honestly think that's one of our massive contributors, as well as relationships, collectiveness, all of that. These are all things that contribute to such a richness in our people.
Yeah. And we as an organisation, as a TCC, you know, we understand about processes, you know, and so, but the good thing is we can still be innovative in these processes, you know?
Yes.
And that's what allows the young people to go, wow, yeah, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's dabao? Oh, I've never seen that before. What do you mean I can do NCQA level 4 with media design school and not go in the city and just do it here, you know, in South Auckland? What does that mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all those bits and pieces. We must be innovative
Yeah.
in our processes and what we deliver, you know, because we need to show our young people like, no, don't worry about what they were telling you before in school and, you know, no, we can do everything from here, but this is how you need to do it. In actual fact, you need to make sure you develop your well-being while you're here in order to understand some of the other challenges you might have personally, you know.
Yeah, that's been a real strong message of yours today.
Yeah.
We had Michael Meredith on a few months ago, and we asked him, one of the questions was, what's your trade secret in your industry? And he's like, man, self-care,
Yeah.
well-being. If you're not on top of your own well-being, you can't be on top of your game.
Yeah.
And I hear that in your messaging tonight.
Yeah. As much as it's in here, it must be in here as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, transform the heart of a man and transform their mind.
Oh, beautiful. And I can hear your voice, real passionate, Brother D. I can hear so much passion. And just the Talanoa itself, I felt a lot of wisdom, a lot of teaching.
Yeah,
And I know you kind of chuckle and laugh, but it has been just a lot of wisdom poured down. And I can guarantee you, people who are watching and viewing, like, man, I needed to hear that. Oh wow, I didn't know that about Brother D and all that kind of stuff, and the young people. So what I've gauged thus far tonight, obviously we talk about business, talk about our young people, the pressures, talking about culture, and also the transformation. And you can't have one without the other. But also, I need to ask you this because you mentioned end game, the end game.
Yeah.
And so, when it's all said and done for you,
Yeah.
what do you want to leave behind? The legacy of Brother D, because you've done so much. You've done so much in this lifetime, and I can guarantee you're going to do so much more, and you've accomplished amazing feats. But what is it for you in terms of when it's all said and done? What's the legacy you want to leave behind?
My true legacy, and I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but for me personally, is my children. That's the jewel in my crown.
That's cool.
You know, I do all this because I love what I do, and my wife knows if I find something that, you know, that really irks me and I become passionate about it, it doesn't turn into a job for me. It then becomes, everybody knows I'm a hustler. It becomes the hustle for me. You know, how can we transform that? How can we raise the level of that 2.8% of Pacifica and tech? Why is it that so small? You know, so the jewel in my crown and the legacy I want to leave is my children. I want them to be able and to be resilient and to be able to whatever they want to do in life, to their success, not to my success, what success looks like in their eyes. Whatever that success and whatever that happy and safe place is, sweet, I'm there with them.
Wow.
But this other stuff here, you know, people say, oh, that's legacy, yeah. But that's almost like fighting the system, you know. That's how I view it. I feel like, you know, I know people like, oh, you're doing amazing work with young people, but I'm just trying to be an advocate for the system that's been so bent for us for so long as Pacifica people, you know. And sometimes even our Pacifica organization become bent as well. Yeah, I'm not, you know, I told you guys right at the start, I'm no filter.
I love you so much.
I love it. I was going to say amen. I was going to say amen.
You know, but that's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and when you grow up in South Auckland and you live the life we've lived here, the truth is the only thing that matters.
Yeah.
So whether you like the truth or you can't handle the truth, we're from South Auckland. We'll tell you the truth how it goes. You know, I remember I told you before, when the community turn around and say, D, you're such a liar, get out of here, you'll never see Brother D again. You know, because that's who I'm accountable to. That's how I feel. And my work and everything I've done, I feel like I've always been accountable to the community.
Yeah.
You know, and my success in that space always lies with them. When I get kids coming after school program and their parents are like, say, whafkai Brother D, whafkai, we loa fo ile kam kiki whai leam, yeah? Hey, that's a tick on my end.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not legacy stuff that you see as legacy, but it is in some form or shape, you know. And so, but the true essence of my legacy, I feel, will show in my children, you know, and no matter what happens there, as long as they grow up and become good people of their community, resilient in what they do, can handle what life will be thrown at them when we're not here.
Man. And I've seen it firsthand. Obviously, when Phoenix was playing with Elijah in basketball, and I see it firsthand. I see how you talk to your boy and talk to Elijah, and man, he's a great athlete, your son, and see what he does. And you see him, and I know you give him that look and you give him that word just to calm him down. Because I remember one game he was a bit frustrated with the team, and he calmed him down. And I was like, man, that's so good. And he understands his dad. And you understand, you know your son very well. And I remember he was playing in another game and he was shooting those shots and getting those goals. And you looked at me and I saw you, and I was talking to you, oh man, I have to buy him some McDonald's.
Yeah, we always say that. Yeah, double. That's it, son. All that matters, you get double points, double. You know, that's you. You know, and so you know, but these are little things that we we try and use these tools. We try and use not only by the way we speak, but the way we act and what we put around them. You know, talking to our kids is not enough. You need to show them. You know, and yeah. He's going to become who he becomes, you know.
Yeah,
but yeah,
good,
absolutely.
Man.
You remind me of that again. That's good.
But it's been an honour. It's been an honour and a privilege also just to have a chat with you and have a talanoa with you. Just so many nuggets, like I said before, wisdom and your experience and just the journey thus far. Also, just thank you so much. God bless you and your wife and your children. I expect, I'm really looking forward to what else are you going to do? And then obviously the things you're doing already just blows my mind. And the one thing that really sums who you are as a man, and regardless of legacy, whatever, but you are a true visionary. You're a true visionary. You have so much vision and you believe in what you do. And you people have visions and they never come to fruition or don't have the legwork. But you're a visionary who has the legwork and you believe in it so far and so much that things happen. Yeah. And it's so good to listen to your talanoa and your stories. Like, also,
if any young person listening, man, you know, don't just think about it. Do it. You know, there's nothing worse than not doing something. You know. Go ahead, do it. Make the mistake. It's not a mistake. You know, I encourage every young person, whatever you feel like doing, online business on Instagram, you know, try and develop this, try and develop that. Do it. Do it. You know, and if you want further advice, come and see me. I don't care, you know, my Instagram handle at Brotha D 274. You know, hit me. I'm there, you know. This is all free. There's nothing worse than our young people not knowing where to go for information. You know, man. And so, you know, please go for it. And thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It feels like I've just
what a pleasure.
Gosh, it's been such a privilege because I know back in the early 2000s, you know, when I was contemplating. Sick of my job, contemplating like whether I jump or not, and I remember just going, "Who do I look at? Who do I look at?" And I remember stalking your company setups, and just going, "Holy heck, these guys, they've already diversified." And you had like all these different company setups, and I was like, that, and then you know, I was just like, wow. And my dad used to always say, never put all your eggs in one basket. And always have them in different places. And you guys were a really good model for that. And as I watched the documentary, and I was like, wow. And I love what you said. Just do it. Invite pressure. Because pressure's going to bring some of that survival instinct in you. It's going to make some of these decisions. But the learnings from those mistakes and successes and the journey and the experience, invaluable. Invaluable. So really, it's been such a privilege to have you here today and talk to some of the stuff and also hear the amazing work you're doing today, but also hear what's really important to you. Is your children. And
there's absolutely nothing that can change that in my life. Probably till I die, you know. Always God first, but my children are. You know, they were a gift from Him to me. So I got to look after that, you know. It's our job is to look after those gifts. You know, God doesn't give you those gifts for no reason. He knows that you can handle and look after them. So that's our job. And the day we understand that's our job on this earth is to take care of those gifts. By any means necessary too, you know. And so be it. It's awesome. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank
Love. So hey, every guest that comes on, we never let them go home empty-handed. Always give them a gift. And so always, but also, hey, we always give our guests a caricature, a cartoon of how we envision our guests to be. And so also on behalf of the Mandate team, also this is for you also.
Hey.
And also some champagne to celebrate the festive season as well. Also.
Oh, man. Oh. Hey, man. Hey. Man. Thank you very much. Maloa. Yeah.
Oh, Malo.
Malo.
Also.
Pulelea. Faftai lava. Faftai lea lofa.
Awesome. Also.
Faftai for everything, man. You guys don't need to do these things, you know.
Oh, man.
But yeah, famalo la faftai ya olua ya miss for some ya bread. We want manuel to family man. Love and respect in what we all do, you know. The space that you guys hold here is so important for our people to you know, especially our young ones today, you know. It's a great place for them to tune in and just have a listen, you know, and there's nothing more important than just placing that there. And so thank you very much for this opportunity to
man,
have a
thank you. Thank you. So thank you so much. So is anyone, just before we finish off, is there anyone that you can think of that would be ideal to come on the podcast? Anything? Oh, this would be perfect to come on and share their story.
I think there's a couple. There's a couple good. Yeah, I'll come back to you on that one.
Sure.
Yeah, because they yeah, there's a couple good people who probably nobody sees, but the work they do is incredible, you know. And so yeah, I'll see. I'll clear it with them.
Awesome.
Thank
you, Brother D. Thank you also, and we always give our guests the last words of encouragement for our men out there and anyone out there who's listening and watching. Also, what's some words of encouragement? One last time.
Yeah, just you know, man, you don't understand what your children are until maybe a bit late. You know? Look after your children, look after your wives, take care of your families. You know, this day and age, you know, there's so many things that a lot of our men are starting to get into, and you know, but there's only all but a small amount of things that really matter in your life. You know, find out what that is, and I guarantee you, it'll be your children, it'll be your wife. You know, to me, that's where the essence of what every bit of my growth comes from. That, you know, because before that, you know, but you know, when you find yourself a good person that you can lean on, like nobody even knows my wife, you know, and she's never been one about, you know, being by my side in these type of things and these type of events. You know, even when we used to go to the music awards, they come on, let's go. That's your thing. You know, I'm all right here. I got the kids. And she's always supported me in that, you know, in that space. And it's so important because when I go home, you know, that's who I share with. And she keeps it totally real with me too. She goes, you know? But at times, you know, you
need that.
Yeah, us as men need that. You know, in that intimate time, you need to have an ear and someone who can, you know, align you back to where you should be.
Keep you grounded.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's what her roles has always been through our life. And, you know, we've been together 30 plus years now, my wife. But, you know, it's, yeah, if there's any parting words will be that. Just your children and your families. And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you once again. Be thankful.
Love also. Please don't forget to like and comment and subscribe. We look forward to your well-thought-out comments. And as usual, Caroline,
Take charge.
no, refine, unlock,
And take charge.
Band-Aid.